Hi, I'm Shane Creado. I'm one of the psychiatrists at AIM Clinics in Chicago, and I'm also a sleep medicine doctor. In these times of crisis and fear, sleep can often get disrupted. So I'm here to talk to you a little bit about how sleep can get disrupted because of anxiety, and also what we can do about it. So we all have busy lives, we have busy brains, we're always occupying our brains with something to do, usually on our smartphones, even in the pockets of free time that we have, like going in an elevator, riding in the subway, when we actually used to be able to do those things. And because we occupy our brains with all these activities constantly, multitasking, the brain gets into a habit of doing this. And because we have busy lives and we don't want to deal with our own thoughts and sit with ourselves, the only time the brain gets to do this on its own is when we have some quiet time, which is usually and unfortunately around the time we're trying to sleep. Apart from having busy brains, another thing that can really disrupt our sleep is stress. Now, stress tends to be a normal protective mechanism. Our body is rising to a challenge. If our ancestors did not have a stress response, we wouldn't be around today because they'd be eaten by lions or other predators. But excessive stress is anxiety, and anxiety is an excessive, unreasonable response to an actual or a perceived threat. And so with our brains hardwired in this danger, fight or flight mode, it can be very difficult to fall asleep. Sleeping is the most vulnerable thing we can do. The Dalai Lama once said that sleep was the best meditation because it rejuvenates the brain. But if we are in an anxious state, if we're worried, it's going to be very, very difficult for the brain to fall asleep. So then what do? We try to fall asleep. And that actually causes our brain to be even more awake and alert. Because the harder you try, the more likely you are to fail. If I tell you not to think about a pink elephant, you'll probably think about a whole herd of pink elephants. And so the more we try to fall asleep, the more we try to watch our clocks, the more unlikely it is that we will get to sleep. Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist from Austria who was imprisoned in Auschwitz during World War II, spoke about this paradoxical intent. He trained his patients to do the opposite of what they were trying to do. So he'd actually tell his patients with insomnia to see out of curiosity how long they'd be able to stay up that particular night. That would reduce their trying, that would reduce their anxiety, and they'd actually fall asleep much easier. The other thing we do is when we have busy brains and are stressed out and thinking and worrying is we toss and turn in bed. Our brain just doesn't immediately shut off. We don't have that switch. And so what happens is your brain then assumes that it's supposed to worry and think in bed for prolonged periods of time. It's something we call classical conditioning in psychology. So then the brain associates the bed with worry. That's another thing that happens. Another thing that happens is then those negative thoughts start creeping in, those automatic thoughts. Oh, tonight is going to be awful. It's going to be one of those bad nights. Tomorrow is going to be terrible. I won't be able to function. And we start believing the lies we tell ourselves. You see, insomnia is not a lack of sleep, but an excessive wakefulness of the brain. Kind of like darkness not being darkness, but the absence of light. All these things can sabotage our sleep. Not counting the fact that a lot of you may be working from home or unfortunately may not be working at all. And so our personal lives and our professional lives and our social lives bleed into one another. You don't have to wake up at 6 a.m. every day because you don't have to turn up at 7 a.m. every morning for work. You can work from home. And so that creates a pattern where your circadian rhythm and your homeostatic rhythm, your natural sleep and biological rhythms don't synchronize to help you sleep better. And that can disrupt our sleep as well. So of course, there's a few things we can do. The evidence-based strategies involve having a nice wind down period before bedtime, listening to some nice meditation and relaxing before going to sleep, having a to-do list or worry list set up way before you go to bed at night, and many other strategies. We at Amen Clinics really want to support you during this time, especially. I do sleep consultations for patients to help them through these crises to get better sleep. We have a great video series on Amen University's website called Overcoming Insomnia, and a great new sleep supplement that's put out, which is called Put Me to Sleep. I also have a book out, Peak Sleep Performance for Athletes, which involves all the evidence-based strategies to optimize and weaponize your sleep. It's for athletes, but also for everybody else who wants to know their secrets to better sleep and performance. Stay well, have a good night, and all the very best.